right, so let's dive right in, huh? Looks like we've got a pretty hefty stack of info about side hustles for 2024. You've got articles from Shopify and Teachable, a blog post from Hostinger with like 25 different options in there, and even some excerpts from specific websites about certain services.
Wow, yeah, you weren't kidding about diving in. This is impressive.
But you know what they say, go big or go home.
That's the spirit. But you know what's really interesting to me? It's not just about the sheer number of side hustles out there. It's like there's this whole shift happening in how people view work.
Yeah, like are traditional jobs just becoming less appealing? Or are people just craving more control, more flexibility in their lives?
It makes you think. What's driving this whole thing? Is it purely about money? Or is there something deeper going on, like a need for more fulfillment, more autonomy?
Well, Shopify actually mentioned that nearly half of working professionals are thinking of quitting their jobs.
Wow, that's a huge number.
It is. So maybe there's something to that whole control and flexibility thing.
Definitely makes you wonder. And for you listening, what are your thoughts on this? What aspects of traditional work resonate with you? And what just doesn't? It's something to think about as we explore these side hustles.
Okay, so let's get down to business. The hustles themselves. Teachable kind of breaks them down into these categories, like popular, profitable, online first, for moms, unique.
Right.
But I'm thinking we should maybe focus on what aligns best with your learner profile, right?
Totally agree. We want to play to your strengths here.
Exactly. You're someone who loves those aha moments. You want to gain knowledge quickly, efficiently.
Efficiency is key. Absolutely. And, looking at your research, I'm seeing a theme here. A mix of high profit potential with moderate effort. And then some options with more modest income, but with a lower time commitment.
You're reading my mind.
And of course, you're going to sprinkle in some uniquely creative options too, just to keep things interesting.
Of course. Always got to have that spice of life.
Yeah.
So let's start with those high profit potential options. What really jumps out at you from the research?
Well, Hostinger really emphasizes freelance writing. They're reporting rates of $15 to $100 an hour, and they even suggest it could become a full-time career.
Wow.
But those numbers are tempting. But I'm curious, what kind of writing really excites you?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think the cool thing about freelance writing is the variety. You could write blog posts, website content, marketing materials. The possibilities are endless.
Exactly. It's all about finding your niche. What are you passionate about?
Right.
And, we could even look back at those website excerpts you sent. Maybe there are some clues there about specific industries or topics that sparked your interest.
Love that idea. Okay, so freelance writing is definitely on the radar.
Right.
What else caught your eye in that high profit category?
I was really intrigued by the idea of voiceover work. Hostinger mentioned you could earn like $35 for short projects and even upwards of $1,000 for things like audiobooks or animation.
Only $1,000 for an audiobook, seriously.
It's out there, but I'm guessing it probably requires some serious talent and equipment.
Probably a good microphone, at least.
Definitely. Hostinger highlights that. But it's not just about having a good voice. It's about having the right voice for the right project.
Right, like the voice has to fit.
Exactly. And there's a huge demand out there for diverse voices.
So if you're up for a challenge and you enjoy experimenting with different vocal styles, this could be a really fun avenue to explore.
Definitely something to consider.
Okay, I'm adding voiceover work to the list. What else?
Well, both Teachable and Hostinger. Talk about the online course market. It's booming.
Yeah, everyone's becoming a teacher these days.
Right. And it's not just for academics anymore. Anyone with expertise can package their knowledge into a course.
It's a pretty appealing idea, reaching a global audience, earning income passively.
Passive income is the dream.
Right. But I imagine creating an online course takes a lot of work up front.
It definitely takes effort.
So what kind of time commitment are we talking about here?
Well, Teachable suggests courses can range from like $20 to $500 per student.
Wow, that's a big range.
It is. So it really depends on the subject matter, the production quality you're aiming for, and how much pre-existing material you have to work with.
Okay, so lots of factors to consider there. So we've got freelance writing, voiceover work, and online courses on our high-profit potential list. What about drop shipping? Shopify and Hostinger seem to like that one as a way to kind of dip your toes into e-commerce.
Dropshipping is definitely a hot topic, and I get the appeal. No inventory to deal with, no shipping headaches.
Sounds pretty ideal.
But here's the thing. That profit margin that Hostinger mentioned, around 15–20%, it's not guaranteed. You're essentially a middleman connecting buyers with suppliers.
Yeah.
So your profit is the difference between what you charge and what the supplier charges,
Okay.
minus any platform fees or marketing costs.
So there's a lot that can eat into those profits.
Exactly. You really got to understand those factors that influence that profit margin.
Okay, so maybe drop shipping requires a little more business savvy than it initially appears.
Maybe just a tad.
But we can unpack that later. For now, I'm curious about those lower effort options. What stood out to you?
Well, if we're talking low effort, but maybe not getting rich, ride sharing or food delivery could be options.
Okay.
Hosting your site's average earnings of $21 an hour for rideshare and $18.45 for food delivery.
Not bad.
And the flexibility is a huge plus. You set your own hours.
Yeah, that's super appealing, especially if you've got other commitments.
Right.
But I'm wondering, those earnings figures, do they factor in expenses like gas and vehicle maintenance?
That's a good point. We definitely need to do the math there, see what the real take-home pay looks like.
For sure. And what about wear and tear on your car?
Another important consideration, lots to weigh.
Definitely. Okay, so what about something even lower effort?
Well, online surveys come up a lot. Teachable mention sites like Brandon Surveys and Swagbucks.
I've heard of those.
They're not going to make you rich, but they're an easy way to earn a little something in your downtime.
Okay, so we've got ride-sharing, food delivery, and online surveys as potential low-effort options.
Yeah.
But before we move on, I want to touch on those unique hustles. I know you love learning new things,
Right.
exploring creative outlets. Did anything in the research spark your interest there?
Two things immediately jumped out at me.
Ooh, tell me.
First, selling handmade crafts. Etsy is the go-to platform for that.
Etsy.
It taps into this growing desire for unique handcrafted items.
You'd want something special.
Exactly. They're looking for alternatives to mass-produced goods.
And they're willing to pay for it.
Absolutely.
Okay, I like that. It combines creativity with that entrepreneurial spirit.
It does. And the second thing that caught my eye was becoming a tour guide.
A tour guide.
Yeah, Teachable even suggests
Yeah.
using platforms like Airbnb experiences to connect with tourists.
That's such a cool idea, sharing your passion for your city with visitors from all over the world.
Imagine getting paid to showcase all the hidden gems in your city.
I love it. Okay, so we've got a pretty diverse list of potential hustles now. But I'm wondering, with so many options, how do you even begin to narrow it down? Where do we go from here?
That's where we get strategic.
Yeah.
We need to move beyond that initial spark of interest and really delve into the feasibility of each option.
Okay.
Things like startup costs, time commitment, potential earnings, and most importantly, your personal level of interest and excitement.
So it's not just about picking the best hustle in theory. It's about finding the best fit for you and your unique circumstances.
Exactly.
So I'm thinking for part 2 of our deep dive, we should take a closer look at those specific factors for each of the hustles we've shortlisted.
I'm ready to dig deeper.
Let's do it.
So are you ready to get down to the nitty-gritty and really dissect these side hustle options?
Absolutely. I'm feeling energized, ready to get strategic. In part 1, we brainstormed a pretty exciting list of possibilities. Freelance writing, voiceover work, online courses, drop shipping, even ride sharing, food delivery, online surveys, crafting, tour guiding. But now it's decision time. We got to figure out which of these are actually viable, and more importantly, which ones really light that fire in you.
That's the key. Passion.
Right.
So where should we start?
Well, I'm thinking we could revisit those high profit potential options first.
Nope.
You know, the ones that could really bring in some serious cash.
Good idea.
Remember, we're aiming for that balance, earning potential and effort. So let's start with freelance writing. Hostingers seem pretty optimistic about the earning potential there.
They were, but they also mentioned that building a full-time career takes time and dedication.
Yeah, it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. But what I like about it is that you could leverage your existing skills and knowledge. Remember those website excerpts you sent over?
I do.
What topics or industries really jumped out at you?
Well, I noticed a couple of themes. You seem drawn to technology, personal development, and travel.
Sure.
Those could be great starting points. For finding freelance writing niches that align with your interests.
Okay, so let's say you decide to go for it. Pursue freelance writing. What are some practical steps you could take to get started?
Well, Hostinger suggests using platforms like Upwork and FlexJobs to connect with potential clients.
Okay, good to know.
But here's the thing. You're not just competing on price.
Great.
You need to showcase your unique voice and expertise.
Show them what you got.
Exactly. So creating a strong portfolio, that highlights those specific niches we talked about. That's key.
A portfolio makes sense, but building one from scratch
Yeah.
can feel kind of daunting. Any advice on how to overcome that?
One strategy is to start small. Offer your services to friends, family, local businesses.
Okay.
It's a low-pressure way to gain experience. And build up those portfolio pieces.
Good point.
And don't be afraid to volunteer your writing skills for nonprofit organizations.
Oh, yeah, that's a win-win.
It is.
You gain experience, and they get valuable content. Okay, so freelance writing definitely has potential. But what about voiceover work? Remember, Hostinger mentioned it could be quite lucrative, especially for things like audiobooks.
It could, but it also requires a higher level of technical setup and vocal skill.
Right. I imagine you need a good microphone, a quiet recording space.
Definitely. And then there's the software for editing.
Yeah.
And let's not forget the actual performance aspect.
Oh, right. Like delivering clear, engaging, emotive readings.
It's a skill.
It is. I'm picturing you in a sound booth, bringing characters to life with your voice.
You know, it's funny you say that, because that's actually a question you need to ask yourself. Do you see yourself doing that? Spending hours recording and editing audio, would you genuinely enjoy that, or would it feel like a chore?
That's a really important point. Passion and enjoyment are key. If it feels like a grind, it's probably not the right fit, no matter how much money you could potentially make.
Exactly. Find that sweet spot where your skills and interests intersect with market demand.
Okay, so let's shift gears and talk about online courses. Teachable makes it sound pretty easy, but I'm a little skeptical.
As you should be. Creating a high-quality online course takes time, effort, expertise.
You got to distill your knowledge into engaging lessons, film videos, create workbooks, market your course effectively.
It's like building a mini empire.
Yeah.
Within a specific niche.
And let's not forget about the technical side. Choosing a platform, learning how to use it,
Right.
maybe even investing in additional software or equipment for video editing and screen recording.
Yeah,
It's a lot to consider.
that is. So it's not just about being passionate about a topic.
Yeah.
It's about being able to teach it effectively and manage all the logistics of creating and selling an online product.
Exactly.
And then there's the competition. The online course market is booming.
It is.
So standing out is crucial.
You need to articulate
Yeah.
your unique value proposition. Why should people take your course over all the others out there?
Okay, so online courses are definitely a possibility, but they require a significant investment. Time, energy, maybe even money. What about drop shipping? That seems like a less demanding option for getting into e-commerce.
Drop shipping has its allure, no inventory to manage, no shipping hassles.
Right.
But that 15–20% profit margin that Hostinger mentioned, it's not a given.
Yeah.
Remember, you're basically a middleman, connecting buyers with suppliers.
Your profit is the difference between what you charge and what the supplier charges,
Wow.
minus any platform fees or marketing costs.
So it's a game of margins,
It is.
and if you're not careful, those margins can disappear quickly.
They can.
So what factors do you need to consider when trying to maximize those drop shipping profits?
Product selection is key. You need to find products that are in demand, have a decent markup potential, and are sourced from reliable suppliers.
Okay, so you do your research.
Absolutely. And then there's the marketing puzzle.
Right, how do you get people to your store?
Exactly. How do you convince them to buy from you instead of your competitors?
So even if you find the perfect product, if no one knows about it, you're not going to make any sales.
You're not. Marketing is crucial.
And that means investing time and money in things like SEO, social media advertising, email marketing.
You're building a brand, a customer base, from scratch.
Okay, so dropshipping is less about being hands-off and more about being strategic and savvy. It's a business that requires careful planning and execution.
But
I'm starting to see why those articles emphasized passion.
passion is key.
If you're not excited about what you're doing, it's easy to get discouraged
It is.
when the challenges inevitably arise.
They will.
Okay, so let's talk about those lower effort options, ride sharing and food delivery.
All right. Hopping in your car, turning on the app, waiting for those ride requests and food orders.
That's simple.
It does. But there are some hidden costs in considerations.
Like what?
Remember those average hourly earnings Hostinger mentioned? We need to factor in things like gas, mileage, vehicle maintenance, even insurance.
Right.
And then there's the wear and tear on your car.
Especially if you're driving a lot.
Exactly.
So those earnings might not be as lucrative as they initially appear.
True.
And then there's the time commitment.
Right.
You're essentially on call,
Waiting for requests.
which can be unpredictable.
And sometimes frustrating.
And what about the competition?
In busy cities, there can be a ton of drivers vying for those same rides or deliveries.
So it's not just about hopping in your car and driving.
It's not. you need to be strategic with your time, your location, even your pricing.
Okay, so ride sharing and food delivery require more than just a driver's license and a smartphone. What about online surveys? That seems like the lowest effort option we've discussed.
Surveys are definitely a way to earn a little extra cash in your spare time.
But the key word there is spare.
It is.
You're not going to get rich filling out surveys.
Probably not.
It's more like something to do while you're watching TV.
Exactly. Or waiting for an appointment.
So it's a way to monetize your downtime,
Is.
but not a sustainable income source on its own. And I'm guessing the pay isn't great.
It varies, depends on the platform, the length and complexity of the surveys, but generally it's a few cents or maybe $1 per survey.
Okay, not exactly life-changing money,
Not quite.
but still something.
Every little bit helps.
All right, so we've covered the high-profit and low-effort options. Now I want to circle back to those unique hustles, the ones that really resonated with your creative side. Crafting and tour guiding.
Those were fun.
Let's start with crafting. Etsy seems to be the platform for that. What are your thoughts?
Etsy is great for reaching a global audience of shoppers who appreciate handmade and vintage items.
Okay.
But just like with any online business, success depends on several factors.
Like what?
Well, first, you need to create high-quality, desirable products that stand out from the competition.
Right, because Etsy is a crowded marketplace.
It is.
You got to offer something unique and appealing.
To attract buyers.
So what else is key for success on Etsy?
Product photography is crucial. You need to showcase your creations in the best possible light.
Okay, so high-quality photos?
Definitely. Clear, well-lit,
Yeah.
that highlight the details and craftsmanship.
And then there's the whole writing part, those product descriptions.
Right, you need to capture the essence of your work. Entice buyers. Make them want to click that buy button.
It's like creating a mini brand for each product.
It is.
And then there's the logistical side, packaging, shipping, customer service. It sounds like running a mini Etsy empire. Could be a lot of work.
It takes effort and organization. But if you're passionate about your craft and you enjoy the process of creating and selling, it can be incredibly rewarding.
And what about building a loyal customer base?
That's one of the great things about Etsy. People who appreciate handmade items, they often become repeat customers.
So there's potential for sustainable growth.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Etsy's on the table for crafting. Now let's talk about tour guiding, sharing your passion for your city with visitors from all over the world. But is it a realistic way to earn a decent income?
Well, the earning potential for tour guiding depends on several factors. The type of tours you offer, your pricing strategy, the size of your groups, the demand in your city.
Okay, so lots of variables there.
There are. Teachable mentioned platforms like Airbnb experiences. That can be a great way to connect with tourists who are looking for unique experiences.
Good to know.
But you could also market your tours independently through your own website or social media channels.
Okay, so different avenues for finding clients. But what about the logistics of actually running a tour?
Well, first, you need to develop engaging and informative tour itineraries.
Okay.
What are the key attractions, the points of interest you want to showcase?
Right.
What stories or historical insights can you share to bring those places to life?
It's not just about walking from point A to point B.
It's not. It's about creating a memorable experience for your guests.
So what else do you need to consider?
You need to be comfortable speaking in front of a group, answering questions.
Yeah.
And then there are the practical considerations, transportation, timing, safety.
Right, you got to make sure the tours are well organized.
They need to run smoothly and provide a safe and enjoyable experience for everyone involved.
So tour guiding is a blend of creativity, organization, and people skills.
It is.
It's not just about sharing information. It's about being a storyteller, a guide, an entertainer.
Exactly. And, one thing that stood out to me in the research was the potential for creating niche tours
Yeah.
that cater to specific interests.
Oh, like what?
Well, remember, we talked about your passions, history, architecture, food.
Right.
Those could be great themes for developing unique tools that appeal to a targeted audience.
I love that idea. Okay, so we've explored the practicalities and potential challenges of each hustle. But there's one crucial aspect we haven't discussed yet, the legal and financial side of things.
Well, that's a crucial point. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of a new venture, but you got to lay a solid foundation from the start.
Right. We need to make sure everything is above board and that we're setting ourselves up for success.
Yeah.
So what are some key legal and financial considerations for side hustlers?
Well, first things first. Do you need any special licenses or permits? to operate your chosen hustle?
Ooh, that's a good question.
It varies, depends on your location.
Yeah.
And the type of service you're providing.
So best to check with local government.
Or a small business advisor.
To be sure. Okay, so licenses and permits are on the checklist. What else?
Taxes. You need to understand how your side hustle income will be taxed
Right.
and what records you need to keep.
Okay.
It's a good idea to set up a separate bank account for your business. That way you can track income and expenses.
Smart.
And if you're planning to invest in any equipment or marketing, you'll need to factor those costs into your budget.
It's starting to sound like running a side hustle. It's a lot like running a small business.
It is. That's why it's so important to approach it with a business mindset, even if you're just starting out small.
Okay.
Speaking of starting small,
Huh.
have you thought about what kind of business structure you want?
What do you mean?
Like sole proprietorship, partnership, LLC?
Honestly, I haven't even considered those options.
Well, the business structure you choose will affect things like liability, taxes, paperwork.
Oh.
A sole proprietorship is the simplest option, but it doesn't offer any legal separation between you and your business.
Oh.
An LLC, on the other hand, provides some liability protection, but it involves more paperwork and potential fees.
So there are some important decisions to make early on.
There are.
It sounds like consulting with a legal or financial advisor might be a good idea.
Especially if you're serious about turning your side hustle into a sustainable income stream.
Okay, so getting expert advice can save you headaches down the road.
It can.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground. From brainstorming those initial hustle ideas to analyzing the practicalities and even the legal and financial considerations.
We have.
But I'm sensing there's still more to unpack.
You're right. We've laid a solid foundation, but now it's time to get even more strategic.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
In part 3, we're going to delve into the world of marketing, branding, customer acquisition, all those essential elements that can help you take your side hustle from a spark of an idea to a thriving business.
Okay, I'm ready to level up.
Let's do it.
All right, so we're back, ready to tackle the final part of our deep dive into side hustles. We've brainstormed, we've analyzed, we've even covered all that legal and financial stuff. And now it's time for the really fun part.
The fun part.
Turning that side hustle dream into a reality.
I like that, turning a dream into reality, because it's not just about having a good idea. It's about knowing how to launch it, how to grow it, how to make it sustainable.
And that brings us to marketing.
Marketing.
I have to admit, that word can be a little intimidating. It seems like there are so many different strategies out there.
It can feel overwhelming.
Where do you even begin?
Well, those articles you sent, they actually offer some really practical guidance.
Oh, good.
They emphasize the importance of choosing marketing strategies that align with your specific side hustle.
Okay, so tailoring the approach.
Exactly. For example, if you're running an online business, like dropshipping or selling online courses, digital marketing is key.
Digital marketing, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Reaching people where they are online.
Right.
But what does that actually entail?
Well, it's a whole ecosystem of strategies.
Like what?
Think SEO, social media marketing, email marketing. Each one plays a different role in attracting customers and building your brand.
Okay, let's break that down. Starting with SEO. What exactly is that?
Imagine someone's searching online for a product or service related to your side hustle. SEO is all about making sure your website or online store pops up high in those search results.
So it's about visibility.
It is using the right keywords,
Yeah.
optimizing your website content, basically making it super easy for Google and other search engines to understand what you're all about.
Okay, so it's not just about having a website. It's about making sure people can actually find it.
Exactly.
Okay, what about social media marketing? Honestly, I have a love-hate relationship with social media.
I think a lot of people can relate to that.
It can be such a time suck.
It can. But it can also be an incredibly powerful tool for reaching your target audience.
Oh, so.
Well, the key is to be strategic. It's not just about posting randomly. It's about creating engaging content that resonates with your ideal customer. Running targeted ads, building a community around your brand.
Building a community, I like that. It's not just about selling. It's about connecting with people
Okay.
who share your interests.
Exactly.
And I guess that's where email marketing comes in, keeping those people engaged and informed.
You got it. Email marketing is all about nurturing those relationships, providing valuable content, and ultimately turning those followers into paying customers.
Okay, so it's about staying top of mind.
Right. Reminding people why your side hustle is awesome.
So we've got SEO, social media marketing, and email marketing. The digital trifecta.
I like it.
But what about those side hustles that aren't purely online? Like crafting, tour guiding, even pet sitting. How do you market those effectively?
Well, those articles actually suggest a blended approach,
Oh, interesting.
combining traditional marketing with those digital strategies we just talked about.
So it's not either.
It's not. It's about finding the right mix. That works for you.
You know, something just clicked for me. We've been talking about marketing. But isn't branding a big part of this too?
Absolutely. Marketing and branding go hand in hand.
How so?
Well, marketing is about getting the word out, but branding is about creating a unique identity that makes you stand out.
Okay, so branding is more than just a logo.
It's so much more. It's about your values, your personality, your story, everything that makes you special.
So it's about creating an emotional connection.
Exactly.
Okay.
Something that makes people think, this is the side hustle for me.
I get it. But how do you actually build a strong brand?
Well, those articles emphasize clarity,
Clarity.
being crystal clear about your target audience. Who are you trying to reach? What are their needs? What makes them tick?
Okay, so know your audience.
Right. And then you can craft a brand message that resonates with those specific people.
A message that speaks to their heart.
Exactly.
And I guess visuals are important too.
Absolutely. Your logo, your colors, the overall aesthetic, it all contributes to your brand identity.
So it's like this. Your brand is a person. Their message is what they say. But their visuals are how they dress, their hairstyle, their overall vibe.
I like that analogy.
And it all needs to feel cohesive.
Yeah.
Authentic.
You nailed it.
Okay, so branding is about creating a whole experience, a feeling.
And that feeling needs to be consistent across everything you do.
Your website, your social media, your packaging, even your customer service.
Consistency is key. It builds trust and recognition.
Makes your brand memorable.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got marketing and branding down. Now let's talk about the most important part, customers.
Customers.
How do you actually attract those first paying customers and then turn them into raving fans?
That is the million-dollar question, and luckily, those articles offer a multi-pronged approach.
Okay, tell me more.
Well, for online businesses, paid advertising can be a really effective way to get in front of potential customers quickly.
So things like Google ads or social media ads?
Exactly.
But those can be expensive.
They can, especially if you're just starting out.
So what's the alternative?
Well, it's important to balance paid advertising with those organic strategies we talked about earlier.
Right, like creating valuable content, engaging on social media, building an email list.
Those things take time and effort, but they're more sustainable in the long run.
And what about word-of-mouth marketing? Is that still a thing?
It's more important than ever. Happy customers are your best advocates.
Right.
Encourage them to share their positive experiences. Offer incentives for referrals. Make it easy for them to spread the word.
It's authentic marketing.
It is.
Real people singing your praises.
Mm-hmm.
And it all ties back to building that community.
It does. And, we've been focusing on getting new customers, but what's even more valuable is keeping those customers coming back.
Customer retention.
Exactly.
How do you create that loyal fan base?
Well, it's a combination of things. Exceptional service is crucial.
Of course.
Be responsive, be helpful, go the extra mile to make your customers happy.
Okay.
And don't forget those personalized touches.
Like what?
Handwritten thank you notes, birthday discounts, little things that show you care.
I love that. It's about building relationships, not just transactions.
Exactly. And those happy customers. They're more likely to become repeat buyers, and they're also more likely to refer their friends and family.
So it all comes full circle.
It does.
All right, so we've talked about attracting customers, keeping them happy, but there's another side to this whole side hustle thing, the operational side.
Right, the day-to-day stuff, that keeps the wheels turning.
Exactly.
Okay.
So what are we talking about here?
Systems, processes, the backbone of your business.
I have to admit, that's not always my favorite part.
It can feel a bit unglamorous, but trust me, having solid systems in place can save you so much time and stress down the road.
Okay, convince me.
Well, systems help you stay organized, efficient, consistent, which ultimately allows you to scale your hustle without getting overwhelmed.
Okay, I'm starting to see the light.
Yeah.
But what kind of systems should side hustlers be thinking about?
It depends on your specific hustle, but for online businesses, an e-commerce platform like Shopify can be a game changer.
How so?
It streamlines everything, from order management and payment processing to shipping and inventory tracking.
So it's like having a virtual assistant.
It kind of is.
What about for those hustles that aren't purely online?
Well, project management tools like Asana or Trello can be super helpful for staying organized. And on top of deadlines
Okay.
and a CRM or customer relationship management system can be a lifesaver for managing client communication, tracking leads, nurturing relationships.
Oh, there are tools for everything.
There are. And even something as simple as a spreadsheet can be a valuable system.
For tracking expenses or managing inventory.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be fancy or expensive. The key is to find what works for you.
And don't be afraid to delegate.
Oh, delegation is huge.
I know. I tend to want to do everything myself, but I know that's not always the best approach.
As your side hustle grows, it's going to become increasingly difficult to wear all the hats.
Right.
So consider outsourcing tasks like social media management, website design, even customer service.
That's an investment.
It is, but it can free you up to focus on the things you're truly passionate about.
Okay, delegation is definitely something to keep in mind. As we wrap up this deep dive, I'm realizing that building a successful side hustle is about so much more than just having a good idea.
It is
It's a whole journey.
a journey with ups and downs, challenges and triumphs.
But the rewards,
The freedom, the flexibility, the sense of accomplishment.
they're worth it.
They are.
And I think the key takeaway for me is that passion is the fuel that keeps you going.
It is.
If you love what you're doing,
Yeah.
the hard work feels less like work.
Yeah.
And more like an adventure.
So find something that lights you up, something that makes you excited to jump out of bed in the morning, and then go out there and make it happen.
Make it happen. That's the perfect note to end on. Thank you for joining me on this incredible journey into the world of side hustles. I hope you feel inspired, empowered, and ready to take that next step, whatever it may be. Good luck out there.
Good luck out there.